All right, y'all. I'm a bit punch drunk because of the heat today, so I'm gonna be as unbiased as I possibly can be, as well as actually seeing a few tweets on Twitter, pretty much derating the show because of the ending. But y'all, in my humble opinion, it ain't about the ending; it's about the pay per view and what they're doing with it. Okay, guys, for months leading on up to WrestleMania, we've had nothing but serious storylines that tugged at our heartstrings. And yeah, I mean it was a very emotionally charged few months, especially with the passing of the Ultimate Warrior. We end up having the streak ending. A lot of stuff happened for these last few months from last year to the beginning of this year. We've had, Daniel Bryan going through what he went through the storyline. It was just way too serious. So some of the things that I actually saw tonight were quite refreshing. Number one, Stephanie McMahon ended up going a very comedic route ish, when she would like projectile puked all over Vicky Guerrero. Even though it was gross, I think she was trying to lighten up the mood. The same thing with Stardust. And yes, I kind of did think like, Cody, what? But I'm thinking back, I'm like, yeah, he's trying something different and it's supposed to be somewhat fun. So am I hating on that? No. He actually still he still can wrestle and he still did a good job. But it was interesting how he dressed up like his brother. Plus, his music was awesome. I liked it. It's another way of trying to lighten up the mood because, as a wrestling fan, it was a very tough few months. Like, just going through the motions. It was such a tough few months for a wrestling fan. So it's just a way for us to lighten up a little. And I enjoyed that part. I really did. As sick as it was for the whole projectile puke, I understand what they were trying to do. So I'm not going to hate on that in general. But honestly, y'all, I've seen so many tweets about Raw being bad because of the whole predictability of it. It's going to be predictable, y'all. There's going to be some times where you're going to end up knowing that it's going to go this route. But all in all, it's about how they hype up the pay per view. It's not about how predictable things are. It's not all about the in ring ability. It's not all about the chemistry in the ring. Sure, that does help some of the storylines moving on down the line, and that does tell the story better. I won't deny that. But for tonight, it's a bit different because, like I said before, as a wrestling fan, you've gone through a tough few months and you want to lighten the load. So I kind of enjoyed it. I have no beef with this Raw, but let's talk about the actual opener. I have a few beefs. Now, with the opener, it went into the serious, but instead of them going the whole corporate hero route, I'd rather them actually just stick to being corporate because Daniel Bryan has showed the world that he is an A plus player. He literally knocked down every single barricade that they threw at him, and he ended up winning it all at the very end. And honestly, y'all, the whole B plus player thing is old and played out. They should have just the stuck with business, talking about how what we're gonna do with the championship and all this other stuff. They should have stuck with that instead of doing the whole B plus player thing. And that's my only gripe about the opener. But either or, I'm glad they actually started off with this kind of business. But of course, they have to go the heel route and they have to ban the last two members of the Shield and John Cena for being a part of the whole battle royal. But somehow, I don't know. I guess as a heel, you really wouldn't give the person that you banned a second chance. But they gave John Cena a second chance, which is what we'll talk about later. And then they didn't really give the Shield any chances at all, but they gave John Cena a second chance. Yeah. But let's talk about Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose really, he always impresses me. I love Dean Ambrose. I really do. He's one of my favorite characters of the Shield because he is a freaking wildcat. That guy, I mean, his moves alone are erratic, but it's just something that's so great to watch. And I enjoy Dean Ambrose as a character. I really do. And I look forward to seeing him go toe to toe with Seth Rollins. And I'm hoping as a part of the card for Money in the Bank. I'm really hoping that it will be. But let's move on from there. Now, the one gripe that I actually have, my second gripe, is how with what they did with Roman Reigns' character. I don't know whether or not he's trying to be a face or a heel because of what he did to actually get into the actual qualifying match for the Money in the Bank was a very heelish move. I wasn't entirely sure if they want to make him a heel or a face because literally spiking your boss's drink to get her to puke and then kind of force your way in there by having Vicky put you in there is a heel move. Like it's a straight up heel move. I don't know where they're trying to have him be, but all in all, he ended up winning the whole thing. But either or, the match itself was really good to watch. I really have no beef with the Battle Royal at all. It was really, really good. And it kind of gave us a great show. But I just don't really agree in how but how Roman Reigns actually came about in that way. Like, it's just nothing that Roman Reigns wouldn't do. It really isn't, in my opinion. But let's move on from there. We ended up having two Divas matches tonight. We had a mixed tag match, and then we ended up having a Diva single. But let's talk about the mixed tag. We ended up having Summer Rae and Adam Rose versus Fandango and Layla. This is all about Layla and Summer Rae's feud. And in the end, they're gonna end up being Lay Cool Part 2. I'm calling it right now. But the one kind of gripe that I have is Adam Rose. Adam Rose is becoming a little bit more. He's becoming absorbed in his gimmick. Now, let's have a better example here. Let's talk about the Godfather and his hoes. Everyone was excited to see the hoes come out, but it wasn't about them. It was about the Godfather. He could actually wrestle in the ring. The guy was a great wrestler, and he could literally show it, and people were excited to see that. Especially his finisher, the whole train, and it was like really cool to watch. But with Adam Rose, he don't really got that much to offer. I mean, I've seen the guy wrestle, and he's really, really good and very fluid. But the thing is, he doesn't do it that often. It's all about the Exotic Express, and it's all about his music. Just like Fandango. It's all about Fandango's music, and it's all about the girl on his arm. Which I kind of see as ironic that these two guys with the gimmick swallowing gimmicks. I mean, well, I guess with the character swallowing gimmicks, they're in the ring together. Like, I kind of found that a bit ironic. But either or, y'all, I really would love to see these two perform more because Fandango is getting better at being a wrestler, and Adam Rose is a great wrestler, but his gimmick is swallowing his character up. But let's see how it moves on from there, and I'm hoping that it actually gets a little bit better down the line when he has his first pay-per-view. But let's talk about the second Divas match. We end up having Cameron versus Paige. Can we please put Paige in a feud? That's all that I ask. Can we put her in a feud? You gave this chick a belt, and she hasn't been in a decent feud since Alicia Fox. But now I don't know where Alicia Fox is. I don't even know if she's still working. And we know that Oxana's got cut, so she has nobody to feud with. But can we please put Paige in a feud? I mean, Paige is one of those rare gems that actually knows a lot of submission holds and very, very good at them. Not a lot of divas from in the Divas division right now do a lot of submission moves. So that's what makes her a lot different from others and makes her more interesting to watch. And honestly, I would love to see her in a different feud or in a really, really good feud. And let's be real, the best feud that she's had on NXT was her versus Emma. But Emma's got to be a little bit more of a serious character before she could ever go toe-to-toe with Paige on Raw. But now that AJ Lee is done, I don't know. I really don't know where they're going to go from there. And I'm hoping that they'll build something soon because who knows? We have no idea if they're going to have a season 3 of Total Divas, and they just might, but who knows when they're going to actually put it up. It might just be until maybe the fall before we see it again. So let's just try to keep the Divas division interesting until then. But let's move on from there. Honestly, y'all, there was a lot of backstage scenes with the Authority, as well as backstage scenes with Kevin Hart. I got no beef with Kevin Hart. I think Kevin Hart is pretty darn funny. I just don't want him on my Raw. I'm tired of seeing celebrities on my Raw. I want celebrities just to go away unless they have some kind of significance. Like if they're a wrestler, like if they're a boxer, if they're actually in a sport, then sure, you can be on there. But for crying out loud, no more Hollywood people, especially folks that have maybe a little clue on what wrestling really is. And Kevin Hart, oh gosh, I really wish he just wasn't there. But that's just me. He didn't spoil the entire night for me, but I wish he wasn't there at all. But the whole match of the night was about John Cena. It was about John Cena and Kane. But there's another match that I forgot about that was really, really cool, and that's Bray Wyatt. After seeing Bray Wyatt come out and all those lanterns being lit every single night shows me that no matter how much this guy loses, this guy really has captured the crowd. I'm not going to deny that. Oh my gosh. His character alone is unique. His promos are absolutely amazing. And even though this guy loses, he plays in your head. Like, seriously, he plays with your head over and over and over again. And he's literally got the crowd in his hand. And you don't really see that often. Plus, I ended up finding out that Rowan and Harper are going to go against the Usos for the tag team titles. And you got also Bray Wyatt being in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship ladder match at Money in the Bank, which makes it me just kind of like happy, because I'm like, can we please have the Wyatt family be all champs? Can we let them be all champs? That means they'll be completely dominant and they'll be like the strongest heels in WWE. Please let that happen. But it might not. But it would really be interesting if it did. But then we end up having Bray Wyatt versus Sheamus. And even though Sheamus won, it doesn't matter. It's all about Bray. Bray still got the crowd behind him, and that's really, really good. But let's talk about the main event of the night. John Cena versus Kane. Y'all, that was a good match. It was a great match to watch. Even though people are saying it's Elimination Chamber 2012, we're going to get some repeats, okay? Especially if the repeats are interesting to watch. Hence, Bad News Barrett and Sheamus. We saw that a million times, but they have great performances, hence why we see it over and over and over again. And Dean Ambrose versus Bad News Barrett was absolutely awesome. And I know that I'm skipping over the Cena match, but I keep remembering matches in my head, so I'm going to go with it. So that was a really good match to watch. Even though it was somewhat predictable, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. I really did. And Dean Ambrose didn't freaking care. He ended up losing, but he still was out on top, in my opinion, even though it was at the expense of Bad News Barrett. But we end up having Alexander Rusev and the overrated Russian, Lana, even though she's not entirely... I'm not going to go there. We already know. But it was all about him being dominant, all about Rusev being dominant. And we already know what happened to 3MB. Three of the members got cut. Now it's nothing but Heath Slater is the only one left. And he ended up getting completely massacred by Rusev. And we knew that was going to happen too. But now about the main event. The main event was really great to watch. Got no beef about it at all. Haven't seen a stretcher match on Raw in a very long time. But honestly, y'all, it was a great match to watch. Even though it was Elimination Chamber 2012, to some people, either or, we haven't seen a stretcher match on Raw in 10 years. Great job. But it's not about the finisher. A lot of people didn't like the finish. They griped about the fact that Cena won, and yeah, he pulled a few Super Cenas here and there, but it's not about Cena, y'all. Don't make John Cena skew your view of the overall Raw, because John Cena don't make Raw. It's all about what they do for the pay-per-view, because you're paying to see this. For those that really do want to see the pay-per-view, you're either paying to see it or you're streaming it and someone else is paying to actually allow you to see the stream. Either or, money is involved. And it's all about the pay-per-view and how they hype it up. My overall thoughts is this. They did a decent job hyping up Money in the Bank, in my opinion. They made it interesting for me to watch. We got a complete card now of the actual World Heavyweight Championship match. We got Sheamus, we got Alberto Del Rio, we got Cesaro, we got Bray Wyatt, we got Randy Orton, we got Roman Reigns and John Cena. This is interesting to watch because there are several people in there that people will be rooting for. And that is what they did throughout the entire Raw. They got you hyped up and they got things that were germane for the pay-per-view itself. That is an overall good thing in my opinion. It's not about characters. It's not all about in-ring ability. It's not all about chemistry. It's about the overall pay-per-view push. That's what it's about, in my opinion. And they did a good job doing that. But y'all, I want to hear your overall thoughts about this Raw. Leave a comment in the comment section below or send me a video response on how you feel about this Raw. But I'm about to go to bed because I'm punch drunk tired. Peace out.